I am live. Yay. Hello, hello. Control C. Dum, da, dum, 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 da, dum, dum, da, 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 da. First person in, let me know how the sound is working for you. I will go and update our link. Edit this page. Update and update. All right. Hi, Lynn. Sound is good. Hey, Danny. Welcome in. You guys know how to skip the line, don't you? Good for you. Delighted you're here again. Sounds good so far. I have been working really hard today to try to get some of the sound and video issues figured out, and I'm ready for you guys to be here. Let's see. My niece was very surprised. Yes, you did. Surprised good, right, Lynn? Surprised in a good way, I hope. That's awesome. That's so exciting. I love it when people do that. I absolutely love it. Let's see. All right, so it looks like the link is live. And oops, I gotta set it where it goes to back. Edit. I thought I fixed that right, but I didn't. So give me just a second, guys. I'm gonna go and get that where it opens in its own window. Dink, dink, and dink. And now we should be good. Okay, come on. Oh, everybody's using the page right now, so it takes a second to load. All right. I think GoDaddy might have allocated us some more resources. I haven't been having near as much trouble with this page as I usually do. So, all right, good. We're all set up and rolling. Who else is logged in here? Hey, Christine, welcome back. Glad you're here today. We really the action on your ukulele, yeah. Um, Someday maybe I'll have an action how to fix your action video. If you're here in Denver, you just bring it to me and I do it. But if you're anywhere else, a lot of you guys have crazy actions on your ukuleles, and I do definitely don't want to just leave you hanging out there. We need people to be able to handle that, just do that, And I do think it's something. It's not rocket science really, but it is something you can get right and get wrong. And so I probably ought to do a video just to help those people who want to do it themselves. Let's see, showing. Oh, that's the shadow from the piano. Okay. Let's see. Gee, sunny day. Yes. We got, it stopped snowing yesterday evening, and so we got some sun here. So I'm glad about that. Hi, Laurel. Welcome in. Let's see. Um, Fixing actions. I haven't been going to the studio at all. I'm probably going to be thinking about doing that pretty soon, Danny, and I'll give it some thought. Let me think about my schedule. I've been thinking about doing these webcasts almost exclusively, and so I'm a little bit. My calendar's a little bit of a mess. So let me figure that out. Let's see. Uh, Violet, Violet Clowns, welcome in. Glad you're here today, Michael, howdy, howdy, howdy. Hey, Michael, I've started pulling up the cowboy music. I'm probably going to toss some cowboy music out next week. So, just wanting you to know I haven't forgot about it. You'll drive down today. No, don't drive down today, Danny. It's I've been so stressed out about this dumb video that not stressed, but just trying to get it right. Um, let's see. Oh, it's Burke. Hey, Burke. Glad to see you again, Burke. Hopefully, every time you're showing up, Burke, tell Michael if he's sitting around that I'm working on his cowboy music. Hi, Leslie. Come on in. Chicago in the house. Gail, nice to see you. Come on in. Lindy, yay, sunshine. Howdy. Yeah, we were getting a much nicer day today. It's spring in Colorado, so sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Eric Brum, oh my gosh, long time no see. So delighted. Your daughter's probably ready to go to college at this point. So, Eric, great to see you. Really glad you're here. Kat, how you doing? Good to see you again today. I'm looking good. Thank you for the compliment, and you go to hell for lying, Eric. So don't stop it. Uh, hey, Red. Red. When I think of you, I think of you. You'll probably be a fine cowgirl. So we'll do some cowgirl music as well. Hi, Jim. Welcome in, Michael. Is it today a work day? What the heck are you doing here? Glad you're here, Michael. Friend, coming in again. I can't chase you off. Gary from the other Gary from Vancouver, Washington is here. Um, Glad you're here. Let's see. Chris, welcome. Come on in. Susan, you're doing a great job showing up each week. We'll wait a minute or two and then we'll get started, guys. We'll start with All Through the Night today, and then we will also then move on to Moon River, right? That's the other one we're doing today. So that's a fun one. Moon River is my signature piece. It's the one I own. So wanted you guys to get good at it as well. Let's see. Oh, you're off on Tuesdays as well, Michael. Oh, did I know that? I don't think I knew that. I knew you were off Sunday and Monday. But Annie, hello, welcome. Come on in. Um, First few minutes, we usually get quite an influx. I didn't send out an email today. I don't know why. I just thought I'd give you guys an update, which was maybe a dumb decision, but I will. I'll definitely send you out one tomorrow. We had 70 people in the room yesterday, and so I guess I was just assuming that today we would end up with 70,000 because we're so popular and so wildly famous across the entire world. But um, so I didn't send out an email. I'll send you out one this week. It's tomorrow. Let's see who else is logging in here. Bruce logging in from Arizona. Jackie, welcome in. Barbara, happy Tuesday to you as well. Jerry, come on in. Have a seat. Renee, back for some more punishment. Kathy, hello. How are you? So, all right. So here's the story. You're looking at me. I'm looking all casual, like I know everything's going to be fine. We're not going to, let me tell you about some first world problems I've been dealing with. My Macintosh video card, which apparently is a part of the motherboard of some whatever any of these words mean, has given up the ghost. And so my Macintosh, which has been on the fritz for a while, officially today decided it had had enough. So I've just dropped it off at the Macintosh repair guy down the block, and it's gone for several days. And so I'm using the Dell computer, which I actually have used on and off, and it's a perfectly fine computer. It's just, but everything, how Macintosh is one way and Windows is another way. And I have now found 3 different settings in this stupid thing for how to set your microphone. And so I'm really hoping you guys are hearing me well. Everybody who logged in early said the sound was fine, so we're going to go with that. I am sad that my Macintosh is far away by being held hostage by guys who look like they're about 19 years old, and they all have beards, and they're all going to fix it. It's all going to be fine. But I've been busy making sure. So things may be a little wonky over the next couple of days with me trying to use this Dell. And so we went out into the environment, which is the first time in a few days, and with masks and gloves and all this stuff. And then we have a store here called Natural Grocers, and they usually have the kind of kombucha I like, which they did, which is very exciting. And while I'm there, the whole time you're just pretty sure you're doing the wrong thing. You're like, oh God, I'm going to be in trouble for being out of my house. And then while I was out, I was like, I'm going to go past Starbucks, and sure enough, they were open, and so I got a latte today. So those are all my first world challenges, and boy, it's just been a nightmare. Okay. Let's get started. Let's see who logged in here last before I start. Hi, Jerry. Welcome in. Carol, good to see you. Mel, back in for some more punishment. I love it. Sound is fine. Good. You're almost too loud. Oh, how exciting! That's then. So turn me down, Red. Red has been turning me down for years. So, all right. So today we're going to talk about all through the night. Oh wait, I'm supposed to do this because I find it hard to edit if I don't. This is where you cut the video off. Okay, so welcome in everybody. My name's Gary. I live in Denver, Colorado, and I play ukulele. I've been doing it a long time. My first instrument was piano. Well, my very first instrument was trumpet. And then my very, very first instrument was guitar. My dad gave me a guitar when I was about 8 years old, and that immediately went under the bed, and I never really touched it very much. Then when I was in elementary school, fifth grade, they told me I would be taking trumpet, and so I did, and I did that for 2 years, which, by the way, if you have kids, make sure they take a couple of years of an instrument when they're little, because then I took many years off, 3 decades off, something like that. And then I started playing piano. And when I sat down to start playing piano, I still remembered how to read music. So that's something that I think it's a good thing if you can get your kids in any way possible to get them to read music a little bit. And so then I took 10 years of piano lessons as an adult. So everything that I say here comes from that experience. And then found a ukulele about 20 years ago, and I've been really playing it ever since. And it's a great instrument, and I'm glad you're here to learn how to play yours better. Now, what I want to do, hey, Lanny, what we want to talk about today is, if you are newer, we're going to give you an old-fashioned lullaby, and then we're going to build it up in 3 different ways so that you have many different ways of playing it. Got a couple of more recordings today from different people, and they're people, different levels working on different things. I got a recording with somebody strumming and singing, just sharing the song with me, which I love it when you do that. Another person was playing the tough axe, made a video of themselves. This is hard stuff. This is really, really challenging. Hi, Tanya. And I want you to approach it at whatever level is making sense for you. So, example, if you are brand new to ukulele, just getting your chords under your belt may make some sense. If you're brand new to reading sheet music, reading the tablature is going to be a bit of a challenge for you. And then, of course, if you've been around a long time, we start talking about how are you actually using all of the tools and the skill set that we've been working on over the last month to try to make your ukuleles playing better, more advanced, prettier, more comprehensive. And also, then many of you guys, we have lots and lots of teachers who log in for these webinars or broadcasts, or what, I don't know what they are, whatever we're doing here. And hopefully you guys are able to steal some ideas to take back to your group, to force them to play better or more interesting stuff. So hopefully all that stuff's coming along. We're going to start with All Through the Night, so get that piece of sheet music up in front of you. I have I have changed all of the setup here a little bit so that the camera is bouncing off the wall a little sooner, and was causing some huge issues with it searching into the behind me, and causing all sorts of crazy weird coloring and all that stuff. So I've changed the video yet again to see if we can get a little bit clearer, cleaner. I don't really care if you look at me or my background. What we're really looking is trying to get it as easy as possible for you to see what my hands are doing, and then compare it to what you're doing. And so we're not trying to create the next Gone with the Wind here. What we're trying to do is make it easy for you to become a better player. I'm tuning myself up here, which I should probably have already done. And so in just a second, let me get you tuned up. As always, I've put in this little advertisement for go buy yourself a super tight HZ. This is the best tuner that there is out there. The $9 or the free one that came with your ukulele one are not good. And so go spend some money and get a decent tuner. The other thing is I do think that our strap on your ukulele is almost going to be required as you get into these higher level and more advanced playing techniques. You just drill a little hole here, stick your button on, and put your strap on. I like it tied up over on this end. Some of the ukuleles put a button down here, which comes from Guitar Land. That's dumb. You don't need that there. It'll strangle you. You'll be like, ah. And so tie this on up here, either here or between these two, if this is driving you nuts. And I think the reason you need a strap is that you are really, really going to be challenged to hold on to the ukulele when you're playing in an advanced level. Okay. Last pieces of posture or thoughts is you're hopefully sitting in a chair with no arms. You're probably sitting with your neck and spine in a nice alignment here, head sitting very pleasantly on top of your spine, and your shoulders are in a nice soft position. As you play, we tend to get all stressed out and tense up, and we don't want that. Your thumb goes behind your neck. I don't ever see your thumb, and your thumb hangs out behind wherever your middle finger is. So those are the main things to be thinking about. Let's go through our chords today and make sure that you have all of those in good shape. Hey, Carrie, welcome. And Deborah, welcome in. Let's start with G chord. Okay, and I'm going to take off my thing so I can push this up to the camera. G chord, index finger on top, middle finger on the bottom, ring finger out here. And by on top, I mean the third string. Okay, there's that. You will get students that want to do this. Tell them they're fired. They can't. We do not want that. Okay? Index finger, middle finger, ring finger. That's your G chord. Hey, Patty. And it sounds like that. Okay. Notice my thumb is hiding out back here behind the neck where it should be, and it's hanging out right behind where my middle finger is. Okay. Strumming. We like to strum on or about the 12th fret. We're up here. And if you're doing more advanced work, and if you're doing more interesting things with your right hand, you're probably going to come down here above the hole to get either your four-finger plucking or your arpeggio patterns in, wherever those happen to be. So we tend to strum up here. We tend to pick from down here lower. Okay. There's your G chord. Next chord in the song is an A chord. It looks a lot like an F chord, but it's not the same. So index finger, first fret, third string. That's the important part. And then middle finger right up there, top string, second fret. Okay. Beautiful. Next chord is a D chord. Index finger on the top, middle, and ring. Okay, so fourth string, third string, second string, everybody crammed into that second fret. Now, if you have a hard time with that, there's two reasons. One, you have kind of thicker fingers, right? You have sausage fingers, and that means that I have a tenor ukulele on with me right now, and I can fit in there quite comfortably. But if your hands are bigger or your instrument is too small, you're going to struggle on D chords. So just know that that is how you want to do it. If you have giant fingers and you have a little tiny ukulele, you can put your index finger here and then the middle above and your ring below. That's not ideal. Okay, that's not ideal because it's going to mess you up for some certain other chord changes, but it is a modification that we accept. Okay, but you really want to have all three of these in a row because it's going to make it easier for you to get to other chord changes, and so that's what we want on the D chord. When you come into my studio and you say, hey, I want to buy a ukulele, this is one of the things I check, is to make sure that this. And I got a couple of guys who have gigantic paws, and we take them as far as we can with the tenor ukulele, but ultimately I'm going to switch them over to baritone ukulele, and that's really what I want them to play if they got giant hands. Okay, so that's your D chord. And then obviously the only other chord in the entire piece is a C chord. Make sure you're using your ring finger. A lot of people will start with there, and that's not ideal, right? We want to go with that one right there. And I believe, unless I'm mistaken, that's everything on here. Okay. let's go ahead and practice our strumming and singing. This isn't what we this is any ukulele teacher on the planet will show you how to do this. So this is not particularly interesting to me, but it is a place that you need to get and you need to feel comfortable with, and you need to make sure that even if you're not a singer, you're going to end up with other ukulele players sooner or later, and they're going to want to sing and strum and have a good time and go out for a beer and all this stuff. And that's really that's really what this instrument is for. But we do want to be able to play in all of the possible ways when we're doing ukulele, and so singing and strumming is one of them. The first thought, and I got an email on this today, and I think it's important to really flesh out just a little bit. When you are playing chords, you are also the drummer. And that means you really don't care what's going on with the melody, whether they've got eighth notes or dotted quarter notes or whatever it is. You only care that there are 4 beats in every measure. Your sheet music up there says 4/4. The top number means that's how many beats are going to be in each measure. And in this case, it's 4. The lower number 4, don't just ignore it. You don't even need to worry about what that lower number means. You're just going to make sure you've got 4 beats in every measure, and doesn't matter what's going on in the melody when you're a strummer. What we don't really want to do is strum along with the melody. We don't want to strum, then stop when you hit a half note and then strum real fast during eighth notes. It doesn't work. It's really, you have to be a fairly advanced and sophisticated strummer to get to that point. And frankly, it doesn't even work for those guys. You're really just being the drummer and creating a nice neighborhood for where the melody is going to live. And so it's either going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to make it fancy, it's down, up, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, if you are finger picking, 1, 2, 3, 4, or if you're arpeggiating, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, or maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All of those are possibilities when you're thinking about how am I going to handle being a chord player. We want to really stay focused in on keeping the beat steady and not speeding up, so that whoever is singing the melody or whoever's playing the melody or who are other bandmates, that they are able to get their jobs done, while we as the ukulele player are serving as both chords and a drummer at the same time. Okay, let's run through and sing it. As always, I am not a singer, and you will find out within the first 3 notes that I am not a singer. But what we do want to do is just practice getting our chords on in time. For some of you, getting that G chord on is tough. Okay, from the top, sleep. Here we go. Sleep, my child, and peace attend thee all through the night. 2, 3, 4. Guardian angels, God will send thee all through the night. 2, 3, 4. Soft the drowsy hours are sleeping, hill and vale in slumber sleeping. In my loving vigil creeping all through the night. 2, 3, 4, and then finish. Okay. That the melody gets way above in my ability to sing it at measure 9 and 10, and so you get as close as you can if you're singing along, and you don't worry about it. Don't lose sleep over it. If you are a singer, especially if you're a female singer, you might be able to hit those notes just fine, and you don't need to change the key. If you are having a hard time hitting those notes, just go grab a baritone, and then you play the exact same thing, and you're fine. What I was focusing in on there was just making sure I had 4 beats in every measure and not paying any attention to what that was going on in the melody. That's what the singer does. Their job is to get all of the notes sort of fancy and beautiful and all of that. And my job is just to keep the beat steady. Try not to speed up. It's not always easy. Oh, hey, Christy, welcome. So that's what we do as strummers. When you go to ukulele strum along, that's what everybody expects. You're just going to strum either straight downs or ups and downs or some combination of up and down. And There's no the big thing that I run across in just when I'm going around to strum alongs or thinking about and playing music, I get the question all the time: "What's the strum pattern?" Guys, there is no official strum pattern. There are none. There are strum patterns that all of these ukulele teachers will tell you are the official ones for this song or that song. Your job is to keep the beat as the chord player. If you want to fancy it up by doing a certain strum pattern, that's up to you. Absolutely fine with that. But in terms of is there a right one or is there a wrong one? No, there isn't. There's some that sound better than others, but you get to decide that. Not there isn't an official rule book on what the strum pattern should be. Just find one that works for you. All right, that's the chords. If you are new and you are working on your chords, I think all four of those chords are going to come up every single day as a ukulele player for you. So there's nothing there that you're going to be wasting your time on. Spend a little bit of time and you work on it. All right, now we're going to play the melody. We're going to play one note at a time. And if I remember right, and I do, the only place where we're going to go get out of first position is when we drop into measure 9 and 10. Okay, and then we're going to go up to 5 and 7. So as a melody player, you're thinking, all right, I'm going to play all my threes with my ring finger, all of my twos with my middle finger. I don't believe we have any ones in this song. We don't. And so I'm just going to be playing those with those two fingers. I'm going to keep in that position no matter what comes along. I'm not going to freak out and accidentally grab one of these notes with any other finger because that will throw me out of position. I want to be in this position the whole time, except when I get to that 5 in measure 9. The last note of measure 9 is a D, and so it's going to be right here. Okay, so when I go to that 5, I know that my ring finger is going to be ready to hit 7. That's going to go so much better than if I try to stay in first position and then hit my pinky on 5 and slide it up to 7. You're going to miss. That's what's going to happen when you do that kind of a thing. So when you see a 5 coming up or anything really higher than a 4, you want to look at the next couple of notes and see, is it worth going up the fretboard to get those? And in this case, it absolutely will be. I'm going to play that 3, 2, 3, and then I'm going to run up and grab 5 here and then play the 7, play the 5, and then slide back into first position. That way I'm way less likely to miss the 7 when I'm playing in after that 5. What I do a lot, and this is why I'm kind of passionate about telling you not to do this, is I'll be like, oh, I got a 5. Oh shoot, now there's a 7, and I jump my pinky finger up there, and it's not going to work. It's really every now and then I get lucky and hit it correctly, but for the most part, it's not going to go well for you. So let's get in playing position. And remember, ukulele is up here. It's not over here because then you end up doing weird, goofy stuff with your wrists. We're going to talk a little bit about wrists and what those should look like on both hands today. I got a question about that over the weekend. All right. First note's a 3 on the second string. And then we're going to stay on that string for all 4 of the first notes, and then we'll be using the first string and ultimately the third string by the end of the second measure. Okay, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, oh, 3, oh, 3, 2, 2, oh, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, oh, 3, oh, 3, 2, 2, oh, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 5, 7, 5, 3, 2, 3, 2, oh, 3, 2, oh, 3, 2. There's a fermat on that. Let it rest and let your ukulele ring out and then start. Go. 3, 2, oh, 3, oh, 3, 2, 2, oh, 2, 2, 3. And on this song, you're supposed to play this thing 3 times through. If you read the words, they get increasingly sad each time you go through it. So you probably stop after the second verse. The third verse is very kind of almost eulogy like. It's really deep. Okay. All right. Let's do it one more time. There's a beautiful lullaby. This is another one you put your babies to sleep with. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, oh, 3, oh, 3, 2, 2, oh, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, oh, 3, oh, 3, 2, 2, oh, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 5, 7, 5, 3, 2, 3, 2, oh, 3, 2, oh, 3, 2, 3, 2, oh, 3, oh, 3, 2, 2, oh, 2, 2, 3. Okay. Always leave whatever you're doing with your left hand, leave it on until the ukulele completely stops singing out. It's one of those things we see new people and they're like, okay, done, plunk, and they yank everything off the ukulele. Let the ukulele, it's not got a ton of sustain on it, so let's do everything we can to make them sound as pretty as we can. Wanted to talk very briefly before we dive into the tough uke, and we're only going to play the tough uke once or twice. This is where my wrists are, and this is where they're supposed to be. Okay, the big thing you're looking at here is you want this nice and straight and up and down, even when you're chording. This okay. One of my habits is I tend to get a little bit out here. It'll tend to be a little bit of a chicken wing. Try not to do that, right? We want to just keep the tension out of your arm so that you can play longer, to be very honest. That's why we're doing this. So just being aware, if you're doing one of these deals, that's not what at all we want. If you get your ukulele too low, you'll have no choice but to turn it into that, and all that just looks ugly. This looks really nice, and it's really easy. You can hold it for a long time, and it'll play really well. Okay, right hand. I have a tendency to grab the ukulele here and put my on this bout here, and then I tend to play with my thumb. Okay, again, what I'm really trying to emphasize here is look how peaceful and without tension my wrist is. That's what we want. Okay, we don't want to be doing this weird kind of stuff. And even if you were to come in and play chord shapes. Again, I've got a little bit of a bend on my wrist there, but not much. It's another reason to hold your ukulele up at a high angle so that your hand just magically drops onto there. And again, this is ideal. We can play a long time without getting any sort of stress on our body when we're in proper positioning, and that is such a big deal. I'm a member of the Guitar Foundation of America, and they have their 10 commandments, which are ridiculous. But of the 10, 5 of them are about posture, and so that should send you the big message that, hey, I want to take a minute to really think through my posture and let the ukulele be in a place where I don't have to put a ton of energy, physical energy, into fighting the ukulele, so that I can play longer, I can practice longer, I can play better, I'll have better tone, all of that stuff. And so so that's why we talk so much about how to hold the ukulele, because if you hold it well, you're going to sound better, you're going to play better, and you're going to learn faster. Okay, let's see a few things jumping in over here. Let's see. Bob got the correct music today. Hi, Linda. Eric. Eric's Eric's in and out. So you see, I have to pay more attention to my arms, all focused on my fingers. Oh yeah. So that's why we talk about it, right? We spend a lot of time trying to make sure we're using the right fingers, and then we end up doing right and turning into this. Igor of ukulele. And so it's like what I want to talk about from time to time, a little bit of just making sure your posture is going well. All right, we've got a ton of people in today. That's exciting. All right, let's move on to the tough uke. We've got 5-10 minutes here to get this thing knocked out. Moon River's not going to take us that long today. It's not as bad as you'd think. On tough uke, you know how all week, all month, we've been doing this kind of thing? Been doing a lot of thumb down to get it. Today's the day. Today's the day when I want you to get rid of your thumb. Well, not completely. Okay, on the bridge we'll use your thumb, but now we're going to go to claw position. Okay, and what I want you to do, you're going to, as always, grab your G chord, but instead of planting the thumb down, we want to pluck. Okay, and I want you to pick. We are not going to use. We're not going to use that fourth string until it's time to strum. So really, grab your index. I'm sorry, your thumb on the 3, index on 2, and middle finger on 1. So you're really doing this. Okay. That's what we're looking for right now. Hi, Louise. Welcome from Oregon. Arlo, welcome in. All right, we're just finishing up All Through the Night, you guys, and then we'll move on to Moon River. That's what we want to practice on this one. When we first start, we overuse our thumb, and if you watch me play, I overuse my thumb. It's very reliable, very beautiful, and there's nothing wrong with playing that way, but we also want to get this tool in place, okay? So we're going to use the bottom 3 strings, and we're going to use those 3 fingers, and instead of strumming, okay, we're going to pluck. You may or may not know this, but this is why you show up to my lessons, okay? Every other ukulele teacher almost on the planet is going to be teaching you strumming, right? Here we're going to spend a lot of time talking plucking. It's really, really, really important. And if you want to be playing this instrument with all of its possibilities and all of its strengths and its weaknesses and all that stuff, when you want to get the whole thing together, you got to get your claw working, you got to get good at it. And so this is where we begin if you are a newer player. Okay, so the first 2 notes are 3 and 2, and you'll notice if you're holding a G chord, you're holding 3 and 2 right there. So let's pluck those. Okay, that's just thumb and index. And then we're going to slide your ring finger back into the 2 to get 2 and 2. And then we're going to lift up to get the 0, 0. But don't take your whole hand and go, drink coffee with it. Just lift it up a little bit. Hit the 2 zeros. And then put your right back down to get your G chord again. And hit the 2 and the 3. Now, you're going to slide your index finger back. You got 1, 0, and 0. So now you're going to use all 3 of these fingers. Okay. Add your ring finger on the 3 and play just the middle 2 strings. And then you slide index up 1 and ring back 1. Okay, and then just pluck the 2 by itself. Okay, and then you got 2 zeros. We figured out we like zeros, right? Hit the 2 zeros. Hit the 2 and the 2. Hit it again, and then 2 and 3. Okay, now we always talk about grabbing the full chord in fingerstyle because it helps. It makes a lot of sense to do that. With this particular arrangement, it turns out you can pretty much not do that. You're also entitled just to do index and middle. So I've simplified the chord shape and so I have less work to do over here. But in the beginning, absolutely trying it that way works as well, and it's worth your time to try it both ways. Okay, here's what's exciting: measures 1 through 4 that we just finished are identical to measures 5 through 8. Okay, so all I got to do is learn those first 4 measures, and now I've learned 8 measures altogether. They're identical. Here's what's even more exciting. Measures 13 through 16 are identical to those first 4 measures. So by learning those 4 measures, you have learned 12 of the 16 measures in the song. That's why when I was first learning ukulele, I don't know why this song crossed my path, but it did. And it was the first song I memorized on ukulele, and it turned out it probably took me 6 months to memorize it. I wasn't a music memorizer back in those days, but I did figure out, hey, the first 4 are identical to the second 4 are identical to the last 4. So all I got to do is memorize that one set, and then I've got 3/4 of the song done. Whether this song is worth memorizing or not is up for debate. It's going to depend on who you are and what your plans are with ukulele, but it is a great melody. It's really a beautiful tune. Might be worth putting some time in on. All right, so we've learned measures 1 through 4, which means we've learned all of those other measures. Let's then jump all the way to measure 9, and let's learn how to play those. Now, I have said on this one we're going to use your claw, but on measures 9, 10, 11, and 12, we want to do a thumb down. Okay. Partly to create some contrast in the song. We've been playing the whole song as a plucker. Now let's do it as a strummer, and not ukulele strumming, but an instrumentalist strum. Right? We're going to do this big, beautiful rolling strum. Let's do measure 9. It's a C chord, and then you're going to go to the 2, go to the 3. Jump up, index on 5, ring on 7, back to 5, first position, grab your ring finger, go back to 3, go to the 2, go to the open. Now here you're going to have to put down middle and ring finger to get 0, 2, 3. That's a G chord. And then go grab your 2, opens, 2 and 3. And then 2 2s. And remember, that's a fermata there. If you're just staring at the tough uke tablature, you're going to miss the fermata sitting up above there at the last note of measure 12. Okay, you got that weird sound. That's an F sharp, which is waiting to become a G chord. Okay, so that's what that sound is there for, and it's a big deal. Dum da da dum. Okay, so that's what's happening there at the end of measure 12. And then when you're done strumming that last note, then get yourself back into plucking position, and here we go. Okay, and then you will follow that through. Okay, so we've got 2 techniques we're going to bring together. We're going to bring mostly plucking, but then when we get to the bridge, we're going to do that strumming, just a thumb down. Okay, and then you will have officially arrived at official, legit instrumental ukulele playing, because you're taking all of the techniques that we know how to bring together, not all of them, but lots of them, and all in one song. And then once you get where you're feeling comfortable with this, the world is your oyster. Every song ever written will be yours to play. First note, measure 12, seems like it should be a G chord. First note, measure 12, first note. Okay. Yeah, you could try it that way, Alan. Change it and see if you like it. I like the C major 7th sneaking in there. All right. So again, guys, my arrangements are my arrangements. I give them to you. You are entirely welcome to go through and mess them up. Okay. And if you're not messing them up, you're probably not digging into music at the level that we want you to dig into it anyway. If you're coming out of I don't know, a band where you have to do exactly what you're told type of thing. That's not what ukulele is about. Ukulele is, hey, here's the song, here's the paperwork, let's see how close it is. I write pretty good sheet music, but it's absolutely open for debate whether it works for you and works for your ear. And if you want to change that to a G chord, knock yourself out, okay? I've been having a debate about Smile all week with several of you, and so that's been kind of fun. We're going to play the tough uke. We're going to play it twice through. Ready? Okay, and we're going to practice this and then this. If you're new here, just play the melody, right? You don't need to do all this stuff. Just play along with that. See how you do. If you're brand new to ukulele, just play the chords. That's okay too. Whatever you can do to make music, that's the correct answer. Okay, I'm going to start at the very top. We're going to play it through twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Strumming. 'Change your posture and go. To the very top. let it ring, and then go. Let their thing ring out. Don't lift up on this no matter what you do, and you're all set. Okay, so hopefully that's helpful. That's a beautiful, beautiful tune for you. It's got all the levels just waiting for you, whatever level you're coming in at to work on. If you are learning your chords, those chords are going to show up. If you're learning your tablature, just see how smooth and beautiful you can get it. If you have a friend who plays ukulele, you play the melody, they play the chords, then you switch sides and you do it that way. Okay, Tough Uke is meant for solo play. If you and your cat are hanging out together and your cat is wondering when you're going back out of the house, play this for them, and him or her, and then they will love it. Okay, that's all I know about that song. Okay, all right, let's move on to what else we're playing. Moon River today. I had to rearrange everything in this little corner, and it's really far away. All right, so let's see if my little thingamajig is working here, or if it already disconnected. Oh, okay, it's going to work. All right, beautiful. So Moon River is our next song. This is hey Manette, glad you're here. By the way, those of you guys who come in and you say, hey, I love that part, I really do, and let people know where you're from if you want to. That's awesome. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. It's also 100% fine just to log in, listen, and leave. I got a few friends who've been sending me notes saying, hey, I really like your lessons, and they have never once said a single word on the chat, and that's fine. Whatever works for you in terms of learning ukulele. There isn't a right way and a wrong way to learn ukulele. There's just my way, which is the best way, and then there's all these other ways which are different ways of doing it. But find a way that makes sense for you, and be involved in ukulele at whatever level. I do know two things. There's two things that you're really gonna have to do to be successful. I'm going to give you the secret to becoming a great ukulele player, and it's Jake Shimabukuro verified. You're going to have to do, number one, you're going to have to practice your ukulele, and that means 20-minute sessions 17 times a day, or maybe 20-minute session once a year, whatever it's going to take. But you got to play a little bit at home. You got to practice. You got to get your hands where they know where they're going and what they're doing. And you want to have mindful practice. Just practicing for 2 or 3 hours at a time isn't really going to get the job done. You want to have smaller sections, maybe 20-minute sections where you're really focused in on what you're doing and you're really thoughtful about which finger motions you're doing, what tone you're trying to get to. You want to have your brain engaged with your activity and trying to really focus in on that. Just logging in hours isn't in and of itself going to be a smart way to practice. The second thing I think that is probably more important than practicing is showing up. Okay, and that means showing up here to this lesson, showing up to a private lesson with a ukulele. In your neighborhood, the good chance you aren't going to have a qualified ukulele teacher. They just don't. There's in Denver, there's about 4 people, maybe 5 that I would send you to, and then we're a pretty big city. 2.5 million people. There's less than a half a dozen people that I would think would be great ukulele teachers. And honestly, there's the 4 or 5 I'm thinking of here in town are pretty darn good. But if you live in a small town, you're probably your ukulele teacher. You're probably it. And but go find some, even if it's just a singing teacher or a guitar teacher who has some background in how to play instrumentally, or go find a trumpet teacher and work on playing melody with them. Doesn't matter. But find somebody to get a few lessons from who knows something about music and not necessarily ukulele, or show up to your group. Start it. If you don't have a ukulele group in your town, start one. There's 3 or 4 other people who bought a ukulele off of Amazon. They're easier to find than they used to be. And Bailey, right? Greg is now officially. I'm telling Greg he's in charge of the Bailey ukulele group. What doesn't matter. Back when I started, there was nobody who owned ukuleles. There was about 6 of us, and we used to go down to Swallow Apollo Hill over here. And then over the years, more and more and more and more people have been showing up. And so there are people in your neighborhood who have them. Call and find out who it is, and then put a note up in the grocery store. Hey, ukulele player, looking for a duet partner, and somebody will call you. Or toss you an email. And so practicing at home and showing up, that's the two things you have to do in order to become a better musician. And showing up is the hard one. Okay, showing up is by far the hardest thing. Now, let's talk about our week's plan. We're going to learn how to play jazz. Moon River is a jazz standard. Every jazz player knows that by heart. I would say learning stuff by heart is really, really an iffy thing that you may or may not need to do, but you need to have one song that you can kill. And this is my song that I can kill. This is the one that I decided, you know what? Every single time somebody asks me to play ukulele, I play this. Okay, this is the one. It sounds beautiful. It's absolutely wonderful. Alan is in from all the way from Cherry Creek. I can see Alan's house from here. What we want to do with Moon River is be bringing that sense of middle 60s, I think that is when the Breakfast at Tiffany's came out. Lots of people that are my age and older have seen the movie. All the young people, they don't know this movie. Okay, so give them a treat and take them to see Breakfast at Tiffany's. It's on Netflix. We watched it the other night. You're looking for that 1960s beautiful, lush, rolling, jazzy, old school jazzy feel to it. This is not a complicated chord piece. And if you're a fine singer, you can pull this off. The challenge is, of course, with Mancini is he often would put one chord on the left hand and a different chord on the right hand. And so it gets a little more complicated than you want it to be. Minneapolis, nice to see you. Welcome in, Dwayne. What we want to do is take this and be thinking about her sitting in that window. She has a guitar, and by the way, she's not actually playing the guitar, and nor the symphony that ends up playing behind her. But that simple beauty of this is what's really lovely. Okay, I want to talk about just the beginning sections of it. I'm not going to run through the chords with you guys. The chords are perfectly playable, I would say. I'm just double checking because I haven't played it chordally forever. But all of those chords, every last one of them in this song, every last one of them is a chord you need to know. Every single one of them. So if you're new to ukulele, this song it will pay you back for months in a row. Learn those chords, sing the song. Okay, even if you're a terrible singer, it at least gives you a place to know where you're at. And so we won't go over the chords in detail. But you're going to find those as we're working up through the tough uke section, how we get that done. Now, first two measures are just intro. I memorized them by rethinking of index on 3 and pinky on 7. And so I think you can get away with your thumb here. And then sliding these two to the 5s. And it sounds beautiful, right? If you're taking your thumb and doing that, but you can also pluck it, okay? So just be thinking about, and one of those two is going to sound the cooler. Both of those are ways you want to be able to play. One's going to sound better than the other. Okay. The other thing I think is interesting or fun when you're playing these more advanced pieces, if you can get in a little bit of a slide, you're going to make yourself sound really fancy. So in this case, I'm going to hold this index finger down while I slide it to 5. And in whatever finger I'm using here, I've been using my pinky, so I'm just going to try it out for my middle finger here. Okay. And if you can hear it, just listen to this finger slide up. Now, if you're playing in a concert hall and you do that, nobody's going to notice, but you'll notice, and that's the person that matters when you're playing music. You know, you get an audience; they're great. You know, when we have our audience when we do concerts with the orchestra, I'm delighted that our audience is there. But that's not really what we're there for. We're there for the musicians. That's who we're there for. Okay, and those of you who are trying to sell tickets to your concerts, just know that. I know you need to sell those tickets to pay the rent for the concert hall, but remember, it's not about the audience. The fact that the audience is there is wonderful, but it's really about the musicians. All right. let's look at tough uke. You got, and if you're a melody player, if you're new to melody, just the 3 is absolutely adequate. Okay, you're gonna play 3, 5, 3. That's what you play on that. I would, for the most part, most of this song is down here in the first position anyway. So this is a case where I'm going to use my pinky up on 5. But if you're playing tough uke, let's do a nice down strum. Now you're going to put your index on 2 and your pinky up on 5. And then either slide that down, okay, then you can get that little bit of a slide in there, or you can stretch it out for your middle finger. Either of those is fine. This little phrase here is going to come up about 4 times in the song. You're going to put an F chord on, and normally that would be enough, right? Or you're a lot of times on folk music, we'll end up with this pinky here for the C on top of the F chord. Okay? But jazz, of course, they got to be fancy, so they're going to put a 2 on the top of that chord, and so you get. Okay, it's a much cooler chord. On your sheet music it says F, but it's not. It's a definitely a jazz F, right? We're adding a B note in on the top of the F, which doesn't fit. It doesn't make no sense. Okay, and you get that. Then you lift that ring finger out of the way, play a normal F. Add your ring finger here to get this G note on the F. Okay, and again, that doesn't belong in an F chord, but it sounds cool in this moment. And then we'll lift that ring up, and then we're going to do a nice plain old C chord here. And you'll see 003. It is technically a C chord on ukulele. It just doesn't have the middle note, an E. There's no E in it when you play it that way. So I'll call it a C note a lot, and you'll think, no, that's a C chord. I'll call this a C chord a lot when you're thinking, oh, that's a C chord. Just know they're both C chords. One's just sounds better than the other. Okay, hit the 0 on the 3rd string. And here's that little figure again. It's going to happen again. You've gone all the way to measure 9. You got a D minor. Those of you who are newer to ukulele, just think of it as F chord. Add your ring finger. That's a D minor. Okay, give this a nice one. And don't rush, okay? This is supposed to be a lush, beautiful piece. We want to let that ride in for a while. And then one of your newcomers, hi, Lorraine, glad you're here. By the way, if you live in Denver, you should join the Rocky Mountain Ukulele Orchestra. We're pretty legit. Okay, there's that D minor, and then after that, we just have some pretty notes at the end of measure 9, and don't change your chord. Just hold it. Okay, 2, 1, 0, and then you change your chord to a regular old E7. Okay, one of the things, those of you who are next level players, and you're like, I want to sound better. I want to be able to. I get chord melody playing. That's not a problem. The big secret that all of the musicians use, especially professional musicians that are up there, and you're thinking, man, they can really play. When they get to a place where they have an opportunity to put in decorative notes, they're going to continue to hold that chord, and you can hit any single string in there. It's going to sound fine as long as you continue to hold the chord. That's secret number 1. The other secret is if they are improvising or they're wanting to do a little bit more than just the chordal sounds, they'll use the scale, and in this case it's a C scale, so all of the notes in the C scale are open to you to add into there. It's a little more work than just holding the chord and plucking some strings, but that's how you end up sounding like you really know what you're doing, and you don't. And honestly, it's not cheating. That is what you do. Is adding either notes from the chord or notes from the key, and you're going to sound a lot fancier and a lot more pretty, a lot more beautiful, and really you're just plucking notes out of the key. All right, in this case, 2, 1, 0, and then you grab that E7. Okay, end of measure 10, we got a 0, and then another 0. Okay, and that C note, it's an A minor chord, but we're playing a C chord through that whole entire measure. Don't short your long notes. If you have to, and you should, be counting in your head 1, 2, 3, and then going on to the next chord, because you'll come in too fast otherwise. Now we got measure 12. You got a nice C chord, 003, and then opens. Hit the 2. And your heart. Make sure it's 3 full beats. Go to the C chord again. And then you got a little short 2 here. 2, 0, 0, 003. Now here's a hard moment in the song. I had to sit and work on this. I probably spent 2 weeks working on this exact motion. You're sitting in this motion 003, and now at measure 16, you've got a D7, right? So you're going to put your bar on at 2, and then you have the 3 down here, and you got to get your ring finger up here on the 3rd fret of the 4th fret of the 3rd string, okay? This is what turns it into jazz, is that finger right there. Otherwise, it's just a D7 chord, but this is going to make it sound cool. Okay, so don't even know what that chord is anymore. It doesn't matter. It just sounds cool. Okay, we pull that off, and then you're going to, where am I? Okay, now you're going to lose the D7-ishness and get rid of this note. Okay, so that's the melody in there. Okay. To go in, and then I'm going to switch to an E minor 7th, except I'm going to put the it's really continuing on with a different version of the D7, right? So we're going to grab that D7 and then your E minor 7th, okay? And that's a super cool chord. I think James Hill is teaching this as a chord pair, okay? Because it sounds cool. E minor 7 is here and D7 is right here. Okay, so when you get to the end of 16, you're going to grab the D7, the all other version of it, and then go to your E minor. Okay, then you're going to drop back into the A7, just slide your finger back. Okay, add your 3. And then we had this note, we had this in the last song too, isn't that fun? And then go grab your D minor. Add your pinky on that, turns it into a D minor 7th. And then you're going to go into your G7. Use the English, Gary. Okay, and then we got some decorative notes. Again, my secret to playing great fingerstyle, just keep holding the chord and then you played that chord and then just play some notes out of the chord. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, I haven't done anything over here. I've just added in some extra doodly doos here. That's what fingerstyle players do. Now, we're going to go back to the main theme. We're at measure 21. Hit the nice 003. Index and pinky on 2 and 5. Grab your middle finger, or ring finger to get a 3. Here's this little figure we were talking about earlier, that 2, 0, 1, 2. Lift up your ring. Add it back on, get rid of it, and then in 003, we're at the top of page 2. Hit the 0, the same little figure again. Measure 27, we're at D minor, some fancy notes, and then an E7. Okay, so if you've studied the first part of the song and paid attention, now you can play the second part of the song. Hit the zeros. Okay, now we're going to do a real D7, so bar and a 3 on there. Make sure it rings for 3 notes. Take your pinky out here and grab the 5. Now, the chord is actually an F7 here, so you would then change all this out. Okay, it sounds cool that way. I have gotten where I don't do that anymore. This is too much work for me, so I just leave the D7 on. It's either way, it sounds fine. It sounds cooler with an F7. Okay, but if you just want to play with a D7, it'll work fine. And then go to your F chord with your 3 on it. I'm sorry, F7 with the 3. Okay, what you're really doing is an E7 and barring it up 1 fret. Okay, and then get the 0, 0, 0, 3. Okay, we've got this little figure that we've done several times already. The F chord with the 2 on the bottom. And one more time. For 3 beats. Now, here's where you enter your first repeat. So pay attention, make a mark on your paper at measure 38. That's where repeat number 1 starts. And if you slide into measure 38, you are committing to playing that a second time. If you're like, I've had enough of this song, I'm moving on, I'm done, don't play 38, jump down to 43. Okay, so we got a fairly long first repeat here. Okay, hit the 0 on that 38, hit the D minor at 39, and then go grab your G7 at 40. Okay, and then the 0. And me. Okay, at measure 41, we're going to let that ride for 4 beats, and then we've got the turnaround here. We've talked about turnarounds all week in jazz. Here's a very short one, but it's exactly something you'd expect to see in a jazz piece. 02, 01, and then that's going to send you back to page 1. Okay, if you have decided, hey, I've had enough of this song, I'm not going to play that ending, let's go to measure 43 to play the second ending. And then when we're done, we're going to play the whole song top to bottom twice. Okay, so that way you can play the whole song with me, and we'll see how many changes I've made in my head. I'm like, oh, I left that F7 in 32. I shouldn't have done that. Okay, so measure 43, you've got 2, 0, 0, 3. Okay, I need to talk 44. It's a bar on 5, okay, and a pinky on 8. And then lose your pinky. And then you got some 5s here that are just decorative. 5, 5, 5, 5. Measure 46. Remember yesterday we worked on this G7 chord, index, middle, and ring. Okay, that's what's going on here. And then again, we're just going to add our pinky on to get the melody note. Lose your pinky. And the sheet music just says hit the 5, which is fine. And then hit 0, 0, 3. That's your big chord at the ending. And then hit 0, 0, 3. And then a nice big C chord at the end. Let it ring out until the ukulele is sick of ringing. Okay? So that's what we're going to play. We're going to play the whole thing top to bottom. Sight reading it, if you're sight reading it, good for you. That's a pretty challenging piece to sight read. If you want to just play the chords, it's perfectly fine. If you want to just play the melody, it's perfectly fine. Again, Tough Uke is not really meant for an ensemble playing, so if you're struggling with keeping up with me, perfectly fine. I would struggle keeping up with you if we were playing Tough Uke. And so let's give it a try from the top. By the way, Lanny, if you're plugged in and listening, what time is it in Hawaii? I'd like to know that. I'd like to know what time it is there. All right, from the top, 1, 2, 3. Measure 3. Measure 10. Don't rush, take your time. 2, 3. Here's that hard part. Pinky. And then the G7 at 19. Measure 21, go. 2, 3. Measure 29. Measure 36. 2, 3. 2, 3, 1. Measure 7. They're 21. Measure 43. Let it ring. And there. Very nice. Okay. So it's a song that I don't know how many months I spent on it, but it's a song you could spend months on, right? And it's a really beautiful tune. Hopefully that it's something that at least if you've seen the movie, right? If you haven't seen Breakfast at Tiffany's, go watch it. It's absolutely. I remember it being really schmaltzy, and it is absolutely schmaltzy, and it's really a lot of fun to go and be a part of that. Everything works out great till the cat gets wet, and then in the end then you're just devastated that maybe she's a lot worse than you thought. Call me, write me, you send me an email if any questions come up on that. And again, for some of you, adjusting the chords may make some sense. I have in the version I play at measure 32, I no longer do that F chord, that F7 with the 5. I just do hang on to the D7 and add the 5 by itself. So I've simplified measure 32 for myself when I play it. But feel free to mess around with that. And again, if you're playing melody, that's what you should be doing. That sounds beautiful. If you're just working on the chords, sing along, strum, it's great. All right, let's see. What else did I miss over here? Let's see. Yes, you should join. Yes, you should join the orchestra. Hey, Glinda. John John says you should join the orchestra. It's 2:30 in Hawaii. That's perfect time of day in Hawaii. That's the time the margaritas come out. Let's see. Susan, have a wonderful day. Barb, thank you. Well, it is beautiful. Can't we love it? I love it. What a beautiful ranger. Can't wait to dig in and practice. Yeah. Showing up was job one. You already did that today, guys. So now go home and practice. Well, you're already at home. So go practice. Go eat dinner first and then practice. Bonnie, have a wonderful day. Renee, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Travis Bickle played Bitches Ain't Shit by Snoop Dogg. Yeah, probably not, Travis. Louise, have a wonderful day. Lindy, your fretting shoulder hurts. Of course it hurts. Could you play it for us? Oh, I'll play it for you late on Friday. Friday we'll play. Friday we're here. We'll do a wrap up. I'll play it the way I play it. How about that? Bruce, have a wonderful day. Dwayne, it's good arrangement. Go work on it. Have a great day, Gail. Glad you joined us, Jerry. This is a wow. Yay, WOW. All right, Leslie, have a wonderful day. Laurel, take care. Patty, have a lovely day. Linda, these and Tin Pan Alley are my favorites. I know, right? I like this stuff, and well, I don't know about jazz. I like a handful of songs in jazz, but overall, it's fun. Red, have a wonderful day. Annie, glad you joined us. Jackie, as always, good to see you. Let's see. And Mike, have a good day. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Um, thanks, Big Bunch. You make this entertaining and fun. Hopefully, I make it entertaining and fun. When it's not fun, it's hard work, guys. Don't think you're getting something fun. I'm gonna go teach a guitar lesson. DenverGuitarOrchestra.com. You can come by and swing in and pick that. I'm gonna go through and delete Travis. I have the authority to do that, and so I will go make Travis go away. You all have a wonderful day, and remove hide user makes him go away. See you, Travis, and you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you hopefully tomorrow. I can't remember what we're working on tomorrow, but it'll be tremendous. Thank you all for taking time to spend some time with me today, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Send me an email if you have any questions. I'm going to end the stream.